What did you think of That Thing You Do?
Oh,
John
I just
Cusack band
that
movie.
was my other thing. I was just like, holy crap, he's gonna fucking bust into fucking my one and only dreams.
Mm-hmm.
His song that he only got to take one take of from the B side.
Apparently, for just about every scene, he would show up shirtless and be like, "I can do this scene shirtless, right?" Because he always wanted to show off the. And they're like, "Dude, this is like the breakfast scene." He's like, "That's fine. I can still do it shirtless, right? I can, you know."
That's
So he
hilarious.
managed.
Welcome to season 4 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. And that is us.
Tony and Don will have a pizza folding contest. Will not be seen today, so we may bring you the following Freakiest Friday.
I do love the pizza folding.
Tony and Don, man, they need some spin-offs. It's the modern Odd Couple, guys. It's Odd Couple in a car, and it's fun. So we're here. It's Talking Pondo. We're back. I'm Marty,
I'm Cliff.
and we got two more modern day classics for you. Movies that more people should be talking about, and they're not. And I think it's because they haven't seen them.
Yeah, a
Green
couple of
Book,
interesting ones.
yeah, and Suitable Flesh. How
Yeah.
the fuck do these movies go together? A lot more than you would think, as we discuss today on another episode of Talking Pondo.
I'm excited for this one. We've talked about Green Book before, and I've brought it up a couple times on the show, and I keep trying to reference it, of course, and you just look at me like I haven't fucking seen that, so I don't.
Yeah,
But now you do.
I almost feel like there was a missed opportunity here. Of all the movies we've done, Green Book should have been with a guest, because I feel like not enough people have seen this movie. You never see hardly any criticism. Nobody on my letterbox outside of a famous person has even cataloged the movie as watched.
I think because it's a Farrelly movie, nobody takes it seriously.
Well, that, and I think the controversy made him go, well, I'm not going to even look at that. And it's like, well,
yeah,
you still need to watch it. And then a lot of these Best Picture winners, they disappear and nobody talks about them again. But
true.
This
Very
one's
true.
like, and then of course, Suitable Flesh is just a couple years old. Only if you really know the horror stuff, or you're probably going to know that this movie exists. But it's also fun in different ways. So we do have a lot of viewer mail today, though. So we'll do that
sweet.
first.
Hit us with it.
Okay, let's do this one here. This one's from Izzy T about the Love Witch and Blade Runner. How about the Blade Runner Witch Hazel will not be seen this week to bring you drug-induced hallucinations of electric sheep. See, that was probably much better than my sandwich joke.
Yeah,
the Love Witch episode.
Maybe we should have her start writing our cold openings.
Seriously. I don't consider Love Witch a display of female empowerment, but it's definitely a great display of feminine rage, which I guess I can feel empowering. I love the lesbian tones and all the weird stuff with sex magic. What was that? Weapons? Spells and tarot. It's also hilarious to me, but this convo went how I thought it might. Well, what does that mean? And it was as good as I'd hoped. Now, I think she probably thought we'd like the movie. And
two fucking men talking about a female empowerment movie. That's how it went.
Well, we're going to do it again this week, damn it.
We hope you enjoyed it, Izzy. I enjoyed it. I really thought that as we talked through that film, especially, I really grew to appreciate it, because I'm like, it's like I think I said it in the middle of the podcast. I went, "Is this a comedy?" And you went, "Yes." And I went, "Okay." And it kind of clicked for me what she was doing, and I thought, boy, she really fucking nailed that. Yeah, she really nailed it. It's worth a look. It really is. I don't know if I'm going to watch it again, but it's worth a look. And I can also understand people being like, I fucking love that movie. Like, it's singularly weird and kind of well put together.
Yeah, love for the Love Witch.
Love for the Love Witch. Loving the Love Witch from Witch Witch.
Witch Witch. Ray used to work at Witch Witch. But it's a story for another time, I suppose. Right. As Jim on Bravo for the B-side says, I could go off on that right now, but we will be here for the next 5 hours. So we're gonna pivot.
We owe him a sci-fi and a Western conversation.
More listener mail. Okay, going back to our Only Lovers Left Alive. Hey, I said it right
Hey,
that
you got it
time.
right off the bat. Nice.
And Arrival.
Ooh, yes.
We got Dylan J. Schlender writing in, as he's wont to do. And he says, I really dug Arrival. I had to laugh when Marty said he did not like the movie, but liked the time stuff. That was the movie. I think Renner was miscast and could not keep up with Adams. Adams should have won an Oscar.
No notes. I completely agree with that. I think I replied to that and basically said this concept of time not being linear it's a cool idea, right? And like the more you kind of think about it and wrap your head around it, learning this language completely changes your perception of time is a really cool concept. And Amy Adams is a bomb ass actress.
And it reminded me of the recent Reels of Justice case where Dylan prosecuted 12 Monkeys. And so when I read his response here, my response to 12 Monkeys was like, well, I had to laugh when Dylan said he didn't like the movie, but he liked the time stuff. That was the movie. 12 Monkeys and Arrival. Are they the same movie?
Take that, Dylan.
Great timing there. What else do we got here? Did we do the one about Cobra? About when are you guys going to review Stone Cold and the Tango and Cash?
Oh,
yeah, we did do that.
No, but I literally just picked up the Kino Lorber 4K of Stone Cold.
I thought you were going to say of Cobra.
No, of Stone Cold. So I have it when we want to do that review. It should be fun. I forgot Lance Henriksen's in it.
Yeah, and William Forsythe.
Yeah, he's the great bad guy of the 80s.
So we got one more piece of mail here. This one's on the Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh.
This is our old buddy Carlos, Paul's cousin. And basically all he writes on this movie is 4 of the devil horns. So I'm thinking he must enjoy that film.
I mean, yeah, usually that indicates that you enjoy something. That's another great one. We keep bringing Jarmusch keeps paying off on this show. Like we have yet to see a bad Jarmusch film so far.
That's true, and I'm sure there's some out there, but
sure,
we're gonna run into them if we keep up. But that's the point, right?
But so far, he's been pretty spectacular.
Like we were saying, we've been watching his movies for years. We've been well aware of them, but for myself, it's only these last few viewings of some of his other movies where it's like, oh, maybe something's clicking now that I wasn't looking for or paying attention to back when maybe analyzing the movies for the podcast has something to do with that. Maybe not. I think your enjoyment should just be on what you're seeing.
I think when he was really making a lot of movies, there were so many other filmmakers louder than him making films that he kind of got like, and I don't think he maybe didn't mind it kind of being in the background, being a good filmmaker that people found, but not somebody that's making the noise of a Kevin Smith or so on and so forth. Anyway, yeah. So what do we got today again? What is it?
Anyway, what do I know? It's a Green Book and Suitable Flesh.
Ooh. What do you want to do first?
A Suitable Book or Green Flesh?
Green Flesh.
Creepy. That's creepy.
I think these movies weirdly have a lot to do with each other.
Oh, they have so much to do with each other. We couldn't have possibly picked 2 more disparate movies that are similar.
I think that we have kind of stumbled into doing this by accident, and it's working pretty well. I don't know. There's some times where we pair these movies up, and they're like Space Camp and Space Truckers. Perfect.
Well, that's that's gold right there. And speaking of which, I think gold was struck by accident sometime this week while researching these films, as we will get into here in a bit. But I have a feeling that old Tony and Don, I think they're going to be around for a while.
Well, let's do Suitable Flesh first. How about that?
Suitable Flesh. Okay. What is this movie that has one of the same establishing shots as Reanimator in it, the Miskatonic University? Because it's set in kind of that same Lovecraftian universe. What is Suitable Flesh?
Suitable Flesh, 2023, 1 hour, 40 minutes. A psychiatrist becomes obsessed with one of her young patients, who she later discovers is linked to an ancient curse. This is directed by Joe Lynch, written by Dennis Paoli and H.P. Lovecraft. Stars Heather Graham, Judah Lewis, Bruce Davison, and our girl Barbara Crampton.
Great cast.
Yeah, good cast. Storyline. In a series of flashbacks, confused psychiatrist Dr. Elizabeth Derby recounts the terrifying story of her downfall to her best friend and colleague, Dr. Daniela Upton. It all started when Elizabeth had an unannounced visit by distressed teenager Asa, who kept insisting that there's more to his abusive father than meets the eye. Generally concerned about the young man's mental health, Dr. Derby delved deeper and deeper into the strange case of multiple personality disorder, only to drift apart from her family. And the more Elizabeth exposed herself to Ace's mysterious horrors, the more she questioned her sanity. But if the thing in Ace's mind is real, what good is science when you're suitable flesh?
Dr. Derpy delved deeper. That's good, sir. You didn't even stumble over that one.
It was tough. It was tough. I didn't have a beer before the show, so tongue's in good shape.
Dr. Derpy.
Dr. Derpy. I mean, literally, that's his name. I don't know what else to tell you. I didn't name this fucking guy, but that's his name.
No. This was written by one of Stuart Gordon's the people that he worked with back in the day, and this was a script that they could never get off the ground. So it's
the same guy that wrote Reanimator, I think, and From Beyond, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why it has that feel like a late 80s rental.
Very much so.
Like there's that loose story just there to kind of drape the tone and elements over. So you don't really... Because, see, I can be real harsh on a movie like this and go, well, it doesn't make any fucking sense and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, that's not what... I had put myself back in the mindset of a 13-year-old renting one of these movies and going, this is just a framework so you can put the crazy shit on top of it. And if you start thinking about the logic of it too much, it's why it was the same thing for Arrival, right? I'm thinking about the logic of it too much when I really should just be going along for the ride, kind of like Dawn.
Yeah, to be fair, you have to you have to suspend your disbelief pretty well for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like right away, she's basically,
it's Cinemax in a way.
This dude's it's like a Zalman King movie meets a horror movie. Like, and so, like you said, though, if you're renting this or watching this, you're not after a layered story. Fucking Aaron Sorkin isn't writing Suitable Flesh, right? And that you're fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
What you're looking for is good elements, and this film has really good elements. Like, I'll get it right out of the way at the beginning. I was like, is there going to be any nudity in this? Because it seems like it's kind of flirting with the sort of that racy silk stockings in the beginning type of thing. And then there is a little bit, and you go, oh, okay, so that's what they're going for. This is definitely the angle that the movie's going for. It doesn't go to that Reanimator level of like severed head between the legs.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting is insanity. And there's a little bit of some gross, but I was like, oh, I didn't know this was going to be the Skinemax movie for the most part.
I would say out of Paoli's 3, this is probably his tamest.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the raciness goes and the sort of excess, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is very well shot. It looks really good.
Oh yeah, it's very, very professional.
My biggest problem with it was her office set seems very, very fake. Like it feels very much like a fake set.
You could tell they didn't have a whole lot. The money went for the effects and
right. And the lighting at times, I remember she's backlit against the window at one point. And you can see the sun. They've put the sun in clouds above her coming through the window, but yet the light seems to be spilling from under her too. And I'm just like, this lighting's fucking goofy. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
the movie is goofy and weird.
Yeah, the movie's goofy and weird, and these are minor, for the most part, minor things that hell, I mean, it might even give it a charm to a certain extent. Because you are solidly in B movie territory here.
Oh yeah.
This is not the type of horror that they're. This isn't the high level horror. This is solidly trying to get that fan base to go that likes this to go after it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this kid, within the first 5 minutes, this kid pulls a Trump, does the pussy grab, and her reply is, excuse me. It's like, okay, well, okay, well, you know where this is going. Like this movie's not even really trying to play around with this.
There's a lot of allegory going on in
Mhm.
the movie as well.
Yeah. I did like the part where Asa comes back the second time. Like he comes back to the office and she's got that dude under hypnosis, and she's trying to talk to him and get him to stay, and the dude's just clenching his fist, and he looks like he's about to have a fucking stroke. She's
Oh
just
yeah.
left him in
Just
that
want to leave
moment of
him in there.
hypnosis, and I could not stop laughing at that. I thought that was really funny. It's a silly movie.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's silly.
That's why you can't take it
Mm-hmm.
serious, right? And
Right.
it reminds me of that late '80s kind of tone of,
Mm-hmm.
at this point when they're cranking out these gore movies direct to video, you're just watching it to see what they're going to come up with next. You're not sitting there and analyzing the story to death, because then you're not going to enjoy it.
It very much reminds me of the creature features of the 60s, 50s and 60s.
That too, just a little more racy.
Attack of the 50-foot woman, Colossal Man, all this type of shit. This is a body swap horror is all this is. And,
It's the stuff they couldn't show back then, but they can do now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very obvious. Like that's the other thing is like, it's very, very obvious what the plot of the movie is 10 minutes in. You're like, so this is body swap. And like, yep. Mm-hmm,
Freakiest okay. Friday. Because they're getting freaky. Have you seen Joe Lynch's other film called Mayhem?
I don't think so.
It was about like this pseudo virus zombie outbreak in a high rise that's all like these business people. So it's like all business people, zombie fighting, surviving, but kind of ramped up, funny, crazy. And this one had a different energy than that one, I thought. That one was fun too, but it's like, oh, he shifted gears here. So he's showing that he's got some different range and stuff. It's funny because these are both, Mayhem and Suitable Flesh, are part of a last drive-in double feature that was released on DVD and Blu-ray, which are just the episodes from the show, but they're on physical media. And I guess because they're both directed by Joe Lynch, and he was the guest on both episodes. And during Mayhem, he had a fake Twitter feud with Joe Bob where they were going back and forth with each other about, what'd you do this for? Make your movie suck. And he's like, fuck you, make your own movie. And, going back and forth. So that was pretty fun, because people were like, and Joe Bob included, like, hey, there should have been more nudity and stuff in a movie like Suitable Flesh, and the title sucks and all. He's like giving them all this shit, and he's all, well, then make your own fucking movie. That's what I have to say to those people. And then Joe Bob's like, oh, what about, it represents this and that, and getting all deep. And he's like, man, you're putting way more thought into it than the people that made it, And I'm just sitting there laughing, kind of going, exactly. This movie was not meant to be some super intellectual exercise. It's just the body swap craziness. Let's just see how far it goes and who's going to end up in what body,
Watching Barbara Crampton vape is very weird. For some reason.
Isn't that strange?
I don't see her as a vapor. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
And then she throws the vape away and rolls one of those weird joints that are being rolled throughout the film.
Those tobacco joint things.
Did you notice, you might not have noticed, because I don't know if you know what the director looks like, but he was one of the orderlies at the end of the movie. Did you notice who the other orderly was?
Yes.
I didn't catch it till the credits, and then I had to look back, and I'm like, damn, how did I not notice?
It's Jonah Ray, right?
Fucking Jonah Ray is in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn funny. Which makes sense. He's riffing Barbara Crampton with Robot Wars, and then he's in a movie with her.
Mm-hmm. One of the problems I have with the movie is that its tone tends to waver. But its tone tends to waver. It goes from super silly to trying to be super serious, and back trying to be super creepy, and then back to super silly, and the dialogue tends to shift with it, and it just seems very, very weird. Yeah. But again, you can't really, like you said, if you put too much into it, you're going to miss the fun of watching an 80s B movie, which is kind of what this is, right?
And now that I've seen it and know all the twists and turns, if I went back and watched it again, the tone might feel different to me, because I'm not wondering, is this going to go serious and weird, or is this going to be silly? It might seem silly the whole way to me now because I know
Mm-hmm.
there's no serious repercussions.
Right. I bet you this was a howler at like a film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Like screening this at a film festival was probably a lot of fun.
What did you think of That Thing You Do?
Oh, I
Chef
just that was
movie.
my other thing. I was just like, holy crap, he's gonna fucking bust into fucking my one and only dreams.
Mm-hmm.
His song that he only got to take one take of from the B side.
Apparently, for just about every scene, he would show up shirtless and be like, "I can do this scene shirtless, right?" Because he always wanted to show off. And they're like, "Dude, this is like the breakfast scene." He's like, "That's fine. I can still do it shirtless, right? I can,
That's
so he
hilarious.
managed
Dude.
to weave that
If
in
I was
every time.
55 years old, look like he did, I would be walking around going, "Do you want me to do the scene shirtless?" No problem. I mean, he's ripped. Which it was like, that's the other thing. It's like, so you've got this husband who's ripped, and you're like, gee, I can't stop thinking about this 18-year-old kid.
Well, it's kind of what Joe Bob and Darcy went into a little bit on their episode, and I think the director as well. Like she's getting the bear and the twink. That's how they referenced that. And that's why they said it's kind of that female perspective of it, the whole movie, which reminds me of The Love Witch a little bit. I was like, we're just watching The Love Witch again. It's a little twisty this time.
I do give it credit. It builds and it builds. It's properly bloody and creepy at points. There's a lot of reliance early on that shaky camera, close up of the hand cracking, body transference stuff to kind of make it creepy. But then eventually,
all those sound effects.
Exactly. But then eventually it actually gets into some proper prosthetics and effects that are really well done.
Mm-hmm.
When she's dragging herself across the floor in that fucked up body, I'm like, oh, that's so well done. Oh, it's so properly gross and just disgusting and well done. And like, I really liked that part of it.
All the scalpel stuff. So that's played for laughs. At first it's like, but I bet if I watched it again, I'd be like, this is just because I know where it's going, and it's almost Three Stooges.
I liked it because while it was gory, it wasn't. I'm not watching somebody get their limb kind of torn off, so it wasn't grisly, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it was still properly bloody, like an '80s horror movie. Like it reminded me a little bit of Basket Case or something, right? Probably kind of bloody, but also kind of humorous and something that you can easily kind of laugh away. Because back then the big three, the Freddy, the Jasons, and the Michael Myers, those were the ones that usually had all the best effects. Not the craziest, but the most well done, the ones that are most believable. You know what I mean? The ones that were hard to shake off in your sleep. But then you watch, Reanimator and go, oh, look at this fucking so dumb. You can tell, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they just cut a hole in the freaking, desk and he stuck his head under there or whatever.
And so this is based on a Lovecraft story, which everybody on the last drive-in thoroughly agreed that he probably wouldn't like this movie because of the gender swapped angle of it. Because as we all know, H.P. Lovecraft had all sorts of weird ideas and racist tones and stuff. But that's where a lot of his horror came from. He would write stories about people that looked different from them and turn them into monsters. So in a way, it does kind of tie into our other movie today. The whole racist Lovecraft aspect, even though there really isn't anything like that in Suitable Flesh.
HP racist craft.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I mean,
it's the ultimate separating the art from the artist, right? Things have been done with his work so much that
the further back you go, the more likely you're going to be to find that shit. So
it's interesting how his personal issues and strange outlook on life actually helped cause the weird art that then transgresses into something else. It's just so strange how we keep discovering that stuff over and over again. That's usually my line. Fascinating.
Yeah. Fascinating, Jim.
So yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it. I watched the last drive-in version. It took me like 3 hours to sit through. So it's like, now I know why I don't watch movies on that show sometimes, because you got to really want to see a movie spread out in that format. Yeah.
I'm glad I watched it. It's a little too long. It needed about probably 8 or 9 minutes carved out of it. I think it's at 140 something. Is that right?
I watched the 2 hour and 43-minute version.
Yeah,
So
it's 140. I would have loved to seen it come in at like 134, just a little tighter, but not terrible. Heather Graham's still gorgeous. Barbara Crampton's still gorgeous. The guy who played Ace is pretty good. Bruce Davison was awesome.
Oh yeah.
As the old man, that creepy ass old man. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a pretty enjoyable hour and 40.
Yeah, they said he was on set for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'll also say this: the director knows what he's doing, like the writer too. If you're going to put Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton in a movie together, especially a movie like this, got to have them fucking and fighting, and you get them both, and you get both, right? Like that's just you hit all the notes for one of these type of films. Well done. And I think it sits well within the triangle of this From Beyond, Reanimator, Suitable Flesh. It's definitely the lighter of the three siblings.
Yeah.
A little bit. It goes a little bit easier, but it's still like you said, it feels very much like one of those. And I think if you watch them as like a trilogy, they would probably fit in pretty well together.
Mm-hmm. They wanted to have Barbara's character be the character she played in From Beyond, but rights issues prevented that. So you can kind of imagine that if you want.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some sort of trivia on IMDb about her glasses being a tribute to her character from
that sounds right.
Reanimator, I think, or From Beyond. I can't remember which one.
And if it's too tame for you, you can always watch Castle Freak as the third movie. Be my guest.
There you go.
Like there's not enough Jeffrey Combs. I need Castle Freak in my life.
That's the only thing that was honestly missing from this was Jeffrey Combs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, the one thing that would have made it better was to have Jeffrey Combs to have been in the film. It would have been awesome.
I bet they probably tried. It was probably a scheduling thing.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So
well, what do you give it?
If this were a regular scale, I'd give it 1.5. But that's the normal cynical scale. If you rate it, and this is what my actual number is going to be, is a 3, and that's based on these type of movies. If you like these kind of pseudo 80s vibe, kind of crazy thrill ride with a little bit of Skinamax thrown in, you could certainly do a lot worse. So 3 stars. Yeah.
I think I'm kind of right there with you, but I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to go 2.5.
Yeah, that's acceptable too.
Not the greatest thing in the world, not the worst, sort of right in the middle. Pretty well made. You could see it. It was in focus. It was well shot. The acting was good, but it just, like you said, it's going for a certain type of thing and for a certain thing, and it kind of nailed that. But it's not like it's the greatest film ever made, right?
Exactly.
So I can't give it a super high score, but I also can't say it's shit because it's not.
It's not.
And I may even go to 3 as we go through our review. But I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was weird, fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Asa creeped me right the fuck out.
That's good casting there.
Mm-hmm. Which takes us to Le Green Book.
Yeah. Speaking of good casting, what is The Odd Couple in a Car? That's really Green what Book. It is at its core.
You're not kidding. Green Book, 2018.
Anything else?
PG-13, 2 hours and 10 minutes. A working-class Italian-American bouncer becomes the driver for an African-American classical pianist on a tour of venues through the 1960s American South. This is directed by Peter Farrelly. It's written by Nick Vallelonga and Peter Farrelly. It stars Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, with a little Linda Cardellini thrown there as an extra bonus. Your storyline is, in 1962, tough bouncer Frank Tony Lip Vallelonga searches for work while his nightclub is closed for renovations. The most promising offer turns out to be the driver for African-American classical pianist Don Shirley for a concert tour into the Deep South states. Although hardly enthused at working for a black man, Tony accepts the job and they begin their trek armed with the Negro Motorist Green Book, a guide for safe travel through America's racial segregation. The snobbishly erudite pianist and the crudely practical bouncer can barely get along with their clashing attitudes to life and ideals. However, as the disparate pair witness and endure America's appalling injustices on the road, they find a newfound respect for each other's talents and start to face them together. In doing so, they nurture an understanding and a friendship that would change both their lives.
We interrupt the podcast in progress to bring you an episode of the classic sitcom Tony and Don. Shamil, Shamizel, Hot and Puffer Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Greasy bucket, we will take it. Fried chicken, we won't fake it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make our tour come true.
Yeah.
Doing it
all
way.
way.
Hold the pizza, he will take it. Whole damn pie, he won't forsake it. He goes lost and too deep in the role. Doing it our way. We're from two different worlds. One's a genius, one is a tough guy this time. There's no stopping us. We're gonna do it. Wait, why is there a camera in the hall now? Micah's staring at a wall now. This ain't the road trip we once knew. Paranormal activity, our way, yes, our way. Fried chicken, snacks, and screams, and we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Two worlds are gonna meet, and we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Merging all movie dreams for me and you.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, man. That was just looking a little pig. Well done, sir.
Don and Shirley.
Sang the whole fucking thing.
Don and Shirley.
LaDon and Shirley.
It was a spinoff of Happy Days,
That's fucking hilarious.
Because you can't take this movie too seriously.
No, I mean, no.
Put a lot of things on this movie, and there's a lot of the racial overtones and stuff, but when you strip all that away, it's really just The Odd Couple in a car.
It is.
I don't think they ever truly expected this movie to blow up the way it did. I think it was just intended to be this nice little simple drama, decent budget, came out, but then somehow it won Best Picture at the Oscars. And a lot of people are like, how the fuck did that happen, right? Because it's an okay movie. It's not the greatest thing ever made, but how does it win Best Picture, right? Well, apparently, from what I could tell, the other movies that were nominated that year were highly divisive, prickly, as they called them. And it split votes everywhere. And this little movie was on everybody's top 10 list and basically won by proxy because of that.
It's in the middle of the shitstorm that's going on. There's racial tensions everywhere. And here's this little movie that's like, hey, black people and white people can be friends. Don't forget that. And like you said, you can't take it too seriously. It is semi-autobiographical, but we also understand that this stuff is, sort of pumped up for
it's a biopic that apparently the Don Shirley's family said was not realistic at all. Like there's a lot of like they said he was involved with his family. He knew about all the black culture and stuff. And so it's like, it's kind of just barely a biopic.
Yeah.
As far as reality goes, they kind of just took elements and swirled it all around. And it's so strange because you would think a movie about this classical pianist, it would be his story, but instead it's the story of the driver. It's the Ronnie the limo driver story. If you're a fan,
Well, if you're going to do an updated version of like an updated, I don't know, like you said, Odd Couple or type of thing, you have to kind of address you have to, I guess, in 62 make race a problem and then address the problem, right? So,
and I think it's got a real East Coast context to it, which takes me back to the Howard Stern show thing. And it's like, oh yeah, because Ronnie the limo driver, he's basically another real life version of this guy, right down to the politics and everything. And I think it's more of an East Coast vibe where there's a lot more ball busting and stuff. Like on that and Tell 'em Steve Dave, they're always giving Ming Chen shit and saying all these horrible things, but they're all friends and stuff. And I think sometimes when you move out of the context of where it's located, some people can go, what the fuck is that? And get really up in arms about it because they don't understand that's how people were busting their balls together in a certain context, right?
If you're getting upset at how Tony the Lip acts and what he says, then you have to understand that that's definitely ball busting East Coast Italian city. That's a fucking trope almost, and that you have to be that way to turn it around, right? one of my favorite things in the movie is the fact that when he gets called to the to the YMCA, and the two of he's been caught with the other dude, and it's like the only thing that Tony's mad about is the fact that he got caught, and he was like, I fucking told you not to go anywhere without me. And Don's like, I figured you would want this to be the exception, right? Like, but he's not mad about the gay thing, because he's like, and he tells him, he's like, I've been fucking working at the Copa and these other clubs for years. You have two shits about that, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's also the race thing, where that's why he's busting his balls, because I don't think he gives a shit about that either, really, to a certain extent. And I think it's the examination of racism in the South that the movie's doing more than the examination of racism in the Friendship.
Yeah.
To me.
It's another movie that asks questions it doesn't give all the answers for. But
Very
before
true.
I get into that, I wanted to respond to when he finds the guy handcuffed, right? And there's the whole, he was doing gay stuff, and he got in trouble for it, because those were the times.
Because those were the times.
It also made me more of the Ronnie limo driver again, because as we all know, he's about meeting girls and he's about meeting guys. It don't matter. He don't care, man, because he's Ronnie the limo driver. He's open about this shit. And this guy's seen it all too, right? So he's like, that don't bother me, man. But the weird question is, the beginning of the movie, he sees those two workers drinking from the glasses, and he throws the glasses away, right?
Yeah.
And then it's never really addressed why it's not this. His racism was a special kind of thing, because it's not this, I do it because everybody else around me says, but then once I get to know you, I realize there was something a little more deep-seated if you're throwing away glasses, right? But they never get back to that. They never have this line of, I used to be so that I wouldn't even want to drink from. And I guess they kind of address go to the restaurant thing a little bit, but it is kind of an extreme thing at the beginning, right? Where you go, that says a lot about his character and where he is.
I think it's I think it's a bad writing choice, because it doesn't play out in the rest of the film, like you said. And if he had just brought Linda to the side and said, who you got in the house while I'm sleeping, and had that conversation. She's like, I don't know who they're going to fucking say, that type of thing. And they kind of have that, but it's a little bit subdued. I think that would be a better,
that was
than doing the glasses and being, why are you throwing glasses away? But I guess the glasses also allow her to see it and kind of realize that he's got to hang up or whatever.
I just thought maybe there would be more of a follow-up on it, but that's not what the movie's trying to be about.
Yeah. Again, a question that's not answered.
And
right?
It's also one of these, like, not everybody's a perfect person. And we know that, Tony's not a perfect person by any means. Neither is Don. Everybody's complicated. And the thing about Tony is a lot of us have known the person that if they're on your side, they'll do anything for you. But if you fuck with them, they will fuck you up. And those people tend to be kind of that one-track bulldog mind. But we also see that Tony has a sensitive side to himself. He's writing the letters back home. He's a highly intelligent person. So sometimes when he comes off as dumb, it's like, wait a minute, you're not dumb though.
No, he's very street
melodramatic,
smart,
right?
Yeah. And he is very smart. I think he's one of these guys that's smart but lacks an like a true education, right? But we know, like, one of the first things we learn about Tony early in the movie is that one, he's tough. He doesn't give a flying fuck. He beats the shit out of a fucking mob guy, and is like, you should probably go home. And then when the dude comes at him, he knocks him out, right? Even plays games with that dude's hat, right? Like, that's pretty ballsy, because this dude was like, going to tear the Copa down over this freaking hat, right? But of course, what's he do? He does that so that he can go and give the hat back, make some extra money. And now and he's manipulating the situation. He's smart like that. And so that we also know he's an earner. Then now he does the hot dogs thing, and we know this is what Tony does. This is how Tony makes money, right? He's constantly manipulating situations and looking for advantages to make some fucking money, which is, again, the rock on the ground later and all this type of shit, right? Well, you got beat trouble, Charlie. Mind your business. I love this movie. It's got a lot of great lines. And I'll say this. I like Viggo as an actor. I like him in anything he's in, because he leans into whatever role you give him. Like, he really goes for it.
So I think everybody should watch this movie, not because it's like awesome or anything. It's an okay movie, but if you like watching actors do things that you never see in other movies, you have to watch this, especially if you like Viggo Mortensen as an actor, because he disappears. I don't know
He's
who that person
excellent.
is. He is
He's so
so
excellent.
far into the character of this. He becomes this Ed Harris De
Yeah.
Niro by way of Joe
Yeah.
Pesci that about halfway through the movie, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But it's still very interesting performance that you just don't see. And I really honestly believe that if no Vigo was in this movie, no one cares about this movie full stop, because that is an insane performance that I
He's
can't
really good.
imagine this movie not having it. It'd still probably be interesting, but it wouldn't, right? It wouldn't have that feel
Yeah.
because
No,
he's
I hear
just
you.
taking this thing to some other
Yeah.
level. Like he became this other person. And yet the movie kind of feels, it's melodramatic, feels kind of made for TV sitcom-y in a way. It's almost, that's why I think they weren't
It
intending
feels
it to be a big thing because of the way it's made. It feels like a little showy in parts. Like you remember Chappelle's show and when he was on the Inside the Actor Studio and they were going through his fictional movies and they went to one called
yeah.
Littlefoot, Bigfoot. Remember
Yes.
that? That's what this feels like a lot of the time. Like, oh, I'm
It
going to do
feels
this and I'm going to do, in our big speeches, but it all feels so like more grandiose and kind of, hopefully people aren't laughing at the wrong things, which is another thing that Chappelle walked away from.
it feels like The Blind Side to me. If you've ever
Also, I've
seen
not seen that.
Sandra Bullock's, well, fuck, I'll have to write that one down. But this is one of those feel good, sort of. It's not white savior and it's not white guilt,
But
but
it's
it's one
also
of
not the
those.
magical black guy fixing
It's also
the
not
white
the
guy
magical
either.
black guy fixing it, right? But it's one of these movies
I don't
that
think
deals
either
with.
one of them changes, actually.
It's one of these movies that deals with race, and you walk away from having a good, hopeful outlook on that, right? And so The Blind Side does that. This does that. And I think it does it in a way that's pretty deft. It's not trying to preach at you too much.
Well, it's melodramatic because it's not really, it's realistic and it's not, because we've certainly been around people that were racist just because they weren't exposed to people. And then once they meet them, they realize everybody's people. But there's also this deeply ingrained thing that doesn't disappear right away because,
Sure, no.
But that's not what this movie's trying to do,
That's
which is
not what
why I
this
think
movie's
it's
trying to
more of an
do.
odd couple. Just, it's not really about that. It is, but it's more about the two opposite characters trying to get along with each other.
Exactly.
That's aspect.
That's what I'm saying. There's a race element and they work through that, but again, it's one of those feel good, like it's really more of, like you said, like a buddy picture.
Yeah.
A road picture. It's a buddy picture.
It's
I
get
do
him to the
think
Greek,
the fucking fried chicken thing where he's like, "What are you kidding me? You people love the fucking fried chicken," and I'm just like, "That's fucking movie."
Yeah, that's a choice, but you also have to look at it as they're not trying to do something egregious with it. I know some people
I agree
and think that, but that's intentional fallacy, and it's you as an artist, you're putting things out, and you can't control how people are gonna interpret it.
I think one of my favorite things is again Viggo's performance, but that when he fucking when he's going through Kentucky and he goes, "Look, Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky. When is that ever going to fucking happen?"
Right.
Oh, we got to pull over and get chicken, right? And it's just like, oh my god, this fucking guy, I love it.
So you have Sebastian Maniscalco in your movie, and you barely use the guy. He's one of the top comedic talents. I don't know what else you could have done with him in the movie, but it was like, hey, I've seen that guy. So my Paranormal Activity joke, in a way, this is kind of a Paranormal Activity of a road trip, because the same thing keeps happening in a circle. We drive to the next gig. Somebody's an asshole. I take up for them. You could get you out of trouble, go to the next gig, and repeat, So it does have a little bit of that repetitiveness to it. But also at the very end of the movie, it kind of apes a little bit of the planes, trains, automobile vibe,
trying to get back home.
Show up and you go, "Oh, movie, you're reminding me of a better movie now, and now you're making me analyze the whole movie against that." And I go, "Well, I think this would have been a better movie had it been more planes, trains like. I would have liked to seen more of the two of them in the car, more of them getting on each other's nerves, dealing with each other, more of a two-hander, you know. I know you had all the other elements of the story, but when you start showing me that planes, trains type stuff at the end, I go, that would have been a little bit more for me.
I think it would have. I think that's falling into the trope of trying to make somebody else's movie or trying to make a movie that's like somebody else. And what they did was they took, this is a movie that takes a lot of, like we've been talking about, Odd Couple and all this other things, and takes a lot of those elements, but still comes up with its own movie, and tells its own story. The scene where Tony sees him play that first time, you can kind of see Tony like realizing that he's actually driving somebody talented around. Yeah. He's actually driving somebody who can. It's not just like Bobby fucking Rydell. This is a guy who can actually play real music. And there's that great line where he says virtuoso. That's Italian for he's really good. And I'm just like, I really like Tony Lip as a character. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's the kind of guy you hang out with and probably have a pretty good time. You know what I mean? You eat a lot of sandwiches, have some beers, and just as long as he doesn't get in any trouble, as long as you don't get in any trouble, you'd be fine, right?
Mm-hmm. But like I said, we've known people like that, and we know how to not.
And they're a lot of fun until you get into dangerous situations. And then sometimes in dangerous situations, you're very happy they were around.
Mm-hmm. Like he's like, "Look, I got you out of that. That's what you paid me to do," And he was almost like he was mad because he, got him out of that situation.
That bar scene is great, where he pulls him out of the bar and do you really have a gun? No, I don't have a gun. Mm-hmm.
He said, don't ever flash a wad of money in the bar.
Fucking flash a wad. And then they come out of the Orange Bird and he goes, hang on a second. He fires that gun in the air. And like, I knew you had a gun. I love that scene.
And then you just go, laugh. Oh, you too.
Mm-hmm. I love how music permeates the film. The conversation about Chubby Checker and Little Richard.
I figured the music thing is what you were grabbing onto a lot.
That's fun.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is Christmas. Well, yeah, it happens.
Could you argue with that? Yeah, because they end up going home for Christmas.
It's not about Christmas, but okay.
Could you blend it in? That's the real argument about this movie. Is a Christmas movie. Forget everything else.
You could watch it on Christmas though, because it is a feel-good movie and it does have Christmas in it. I would be okay with that. A lot of this movie is just silly and kind of fun until it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. Parts of it are really humorous, and then other parts you're just kind of like, all right, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Getting pulled over in the sundown town. That scene's coming. Something like that's
it's melodramatic. The good's always good, the bad's always bad. Nobody ever changes, and you know what the beats are.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay though. Some movies are like that. The ratio. Did you notice the aspect ratio? It's like a 2.0 or 2.1. It's this ratio they've been using a lot more often, where it fills up more of your TV. So you have just a little bit of black bars at the top and bottom. So it's this new thing I
didn't really notice.
Are doing now. Yeah.
Interesting. I wish they would stop doing that.
I figured you'd have something to say about
Please stop fucking with the ratios, guys. Just go to the ratios that we all know and love and use them. 1.76, 1.5, fucking.
But I didn't mind this one as far as a new addition, and it stays that through the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was composed well.
Yeah. No, I look, the movie is shot. It looks great. The car looks great. The driving, the scenery is beautiful. They look great in the film, in the car. I have no problems with the technical aspects of the movie at all. One of the cool things about this is that apparently Mahershala Ali doesn't play piano. And so what they did in able to mimic him, and because a lot of that playing, I guess, it's special effects, it's CGI. The hands, right? But to mimic the body movements and everything, apparently they had another piano player with a piano play in front of him with his back to Mahershala Ali, and Mahershala would mimic his back movements and his arm movements, right? And so that when they went to do the overlay with the graphics, the CGI, it was easier for them to just put the hands in or whatever.
Okay,
which I found pretty fascinating, because it's like, fucking Jamie Foxx didn't do that shit for Ray. Jamie Foxx played most of that stuff, so I thought that was Mahershala did a really good job and seemed very convincing as a piano player. I thought.
And so the guy that wrote this had been in the business for a while. think most people know him from The Sopranos, I think it is, but he's been in a few other things. And I guess he finally got, some people
got his
that
own
give him
story out there.
money, and they made the movie. It's not that uncommon for somebody who was a hedge fund person to help budget a movie and then never make another movie again. That's what happened here with one of the investors he got. Because I looked up the company. I'm like, what else did they make? Nothing. This was the one and done. But as of the time of this recording, the writer of this movie has just finished his new movie. He just finished shooting it. So he's not a one-trick pony. He's here to do something else. His next movie has John Travolta in it. And I think it's more of an Italian life thing. And I'm not sure if it's a musical or not, but we will be seeing more from the writer of Green Book coming up soon.
Interesting. Is it Silent Partners?
Maybe. I can't remember the name, but
no, that's not
it. I was like, what else is he doing? And
I don't
his
see
co-writer did something else too, but
interesting. Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah, he's not a one and done. He looks doing some more.
He looks a lot like his fucking dad. And his dad, I mean...
And that's why it's about Tony, because the guy wrote the story about his dad. That's why you go, wait a minute, shouldn't a story about this be about the black guy? But, I mean...
Well, no, it's really... And there's a reason. Like, you got to understand, being the bouncer at the Copa in 1962, this dude knew more mobsters and was probably involved in more dirty shit or knew about more dirty shit. I'm not saying he was a gangster or anything like that. I'm not trying to put that on him. But when you kind of run in those circles, you have to rub elbows with those people, right? You're around those people. And then even the movie shows him dealing with those people, right? So that's not surprising. But later on, I mean, he's in gangster movies and shit. Like he's he's in the business and is, well known in New York City. So he's kind of a legend in his own right to sort of make a movie about it makes sense, in my opinion, And I like this idea of taking just this little part of his life and saying, well, here's how I met a good friend of mine. And here's this, because apparently the claim is they were good friends for years and years and years.
And also the claim is they were just business partners too. So I don't know the reality. I haven't looked into it, but there's a lot of, both of those guys lived till like 2013.
Yeah.
And so that's why their life story didn't become a movie, because they didn't want it to be made until after they were gone. Apparently Don Shirley didn't even want a movie made of his life. And so that's why you go, why does this movie that feels like the material should have come out 40 years ago? Well, it's because these guys were still alive. That's why this movie gets made. I don't want to say now, because it's almost 10 years old, but instead of then. But everybody, I know this movie has this controversy around it. It has this veil, but also at the same time, everybody's forgotten about it. Watch it. Even if you only watch the first half hour to get a feel for Viggo's character, you have to experience that as somebody who enjoys film, because people talk about Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't even know who this guy is folding pizza in half on the screen. It's
fucking great.
The most insane, magnificent thing about the movie is Viggo's performance, because he's there. That's not the guy from
He disappears completely. Yeah. He disappears completely.
And you know who beat him for best actor? Remy for fucking the Queen movie, which is another biopic that really isn't that great. You watch it the first time and you go, okay, but you try to watch it the second time and you go, ooh, made for TV VH1 vibes. And now he did a really good job as Freddie Mercury.
Agreed.
I almost feel like
I feel like he got
it's so
I feel like he got the Oscar more because of he nailed the look.
Yeah, that's
the physicality of Freddie more than the acting.
It is very interesting though. Yeah.
It is very interesting. So this movie won 3 Oscars. It won Best Picture. It won Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role for Mahershala Ali.
Oh, that's good at least.
And it won Best Original Screenplay.
Well, that's an interesting choice. But then again, I've noticed a lot of things that I keep thinking, what have won Oscars in recent years? So
I look, I think it's well crafted. I
understand why the Oscars do what they do.
I'm not super worried about is it accurate? It's a fucking film, and films are never super accurate. That you have to move things around to tell story and to put them into structure and to create tension and payoff and so on. So, but I think for what it does and for what it's trying to do, I think it's pretty deftly done. Right. I think it handles it very well. I don't think it goes too far with anything. It stays within the realm of what it's trying to do, which is tell this story about this trip and the things that happened on it and coming home. Yeah. And it does that in a very entertaining manner. And especially for the guy who directed fucking Kingpin.
Yeah, it's quite he's made some questionable, I talked about something about Mary previously and
the Ringer. The Ringer, Jesus Christ. I mean,
he's always had.
He's been hit or miss. He did Stuck on You.
And it didn't help this movie either, the controversy, but he went on record going, that's, I'm disappointed that people think that that's what I was trying to do, because it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this also came from a time period where people didn't have to watch every movie in order to vote for them at the Oscars too. So, but I just go watch this movie. That's all I'm saying. Watch it. But do you have anything else to say about it? Because I have another kind of semi-long thing to add.
Viggo's Italian kind of at some point sounds like goblin speak to me, where he's just like, give a gobble God. I'm just like, what the fuck? And I do think my favorite scene in the movie is the orange bird scene coming out of the orange bird with the "I knew you had a gun" reference. I do, and I think this is an enjoyable movie. Probably another one of those movies that you're right. I don't consider it a Christmas movie because it's not about Christmas.
I know, that's kind of a joke. Yeah.
But if we, how I talk about those movies that you can put on that don't offend anybody.
Well, that depends on who you're showing it to.
It does, but I think for the most part, you can put this on, and other than your super fucking left or your super right people who were just gone and probably shouldn't be at family gatherings anyways, most people are going to enjoy this and at least be able to watch it.
Well, when you watch it and realize it for what it is rather than what the controversy around it is trying to present, which it really isn't, it doesn't do the movie any service, which is why I think they didn't intend for it to be a big movie.
You're bringing that shit to the movie. I think that blew up
when the movie blew up, and I don't think they were expecting that. But there is a fairly lengthy deleted scene from the movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got the transcript for it. I can read it for you if you want to hear it. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
These guys, they're driving around a lot. And at one point, they decide to go see a movie. None of this rings a bell, but yeah. So I'll read the excerpt from the script. I don't know if they ever got to film this or not. Don Shirley sits in the back of the Cadillac, adjusting his cuffs with a look of profound, weary disappointment. He rests his chin on his interlaced fingers and sighs. Tony, please, must we? I found the cinematic experience to be taxing. It was a garish display of anatomical indelicacy. While I can appreciate the metaphorical implications of a soul being displaced, certainly a feeling I am well acquainted with in this particular Cadillac, the execution lacked any semblance of dignity. The tonal dissonance between the clinical psychiatric setting and the subsequent carnal gymnastics was quite jarring. I expected a treatise on the boundaries of the human psyche, and instead, I was presented with a woman shouting about ancient gods while attempting to inhabit a stranger's epidermis. It was loud, it was messy, and the suitable flesh in question was far too liberally exposed. If one is going to transcend the mortal coil, one should at least have the decency to do it in a tuxedo, not while looking like a butcher's discard pile. Now, if you finish pondering the physics of the swap, as you call it, could we perhaps find a radio station that doesn't play Little Richard? My ears require a bath. Tony folds a massive slice of pizza in half, oil dripping onto his thumb, and talks through a mouthful of cheese. Doc, honestly, you're overthinking it. You always do that. It's a movie. You sit there, you get a little spooked, you see some broads. What's the problem? So the lady starts hopping into different bodies. Big deal. I've been in this car with you for 3 weeks. I'm practically hopping into your body, too. I'm starting to like the fancy talk and the way you stare at the horizon like you're waiting for a bus that ain't coming. That's a swap right there. And the carnal gymnastics? Come on. The lady was possessed by an ancient wizard or something. If I had some guy from 1,000 years ago living in my head, I'd probably be acting a little nutty too. I wouldn't be checking to see if my tie was straight, I tell you that much. It's about survival, Doc. You gotta do what you gotta do to keep the flesh moving. Plus, that one guy got his head messed up. That was some top-tier work. Real believable. I seen guys in the Bronx look worse on a Tuesday night at the club. You want dignity? Watch a sunset. You want a good time on a Friday night in Tucson? You watch The Lady with the Glowing Eyes and the Knife. Now pass me the napkin. I got sauce on the upholstery. Don Shirley closes his eyes, his expression tightening as if he's just tasted something sour. He takes a slow, controlled breath before speaking. Tony, your capacity for false equivalence is truly staggering. To compare my existence, the daily calculated performance of a man navigating in a world that refuses to acknowledge his humanity, to a supernatural parasite hijacking a vessel for the sake of acting nutty, is offensive at best. I do not hop into bodies. I am forced to reside in a version of myself that is palatable to people who wouldn't let me use their restroom, yet applaud when I play Chopin. If that is a swap, it is one born of necessity and survival, not because an ancient wizard decided I was a convenient piece of real estate. And please, spare me the endorsement of top-tier head trauma. Your familiarity with the Bronx underworld does not qualify you as a critic of Lovecraftian horror. There is a vast difference between a street brawl and the cosmic erasure of one's identity. Furthermore, if you get sauce on the upholstery because you were too busy defending a woman with glowing eyes, I will personally ensure you that your next letter to Dolores is written in nothing but ancient cuneiform. Now drive, and for the love of all that is holy, find the napkin. Dear Dolores, how are things in the Bronx? The weather here in Tucson is hot enough to melt a Cadillac, but the pizza is, well, it's not pizza, but I'm eating it anyway. Me and the doc went to this place and we saw this double feature. One was okay, but the other one, Suitable Flesh, was a real piece of work. The doc hated it, kept talking about dignity and psychology, but I told him it's just a movie about people trading bodies. To be honest, it reminded me a little of us, except without the glowing eyes and the knives. Don't worry, nobody's hopping into my skin. I'm still the same old Tony, just a few pounds heavier from all the snacks. Give the kids a kiss from me, and tell them their old man is fighting off ancient wizards and bad upholstery. I'll be home before you know it. Love, Tony. And then they drove to their next gig. But, I can imagine them out there having their discussions about film as they,
apparently
dichotomy between each other. And I just,
okay.
That was thank you, AI, for letting me know what the characters of Green Book thought about the film Suitable Flesh. And how strangely it kind of related to them. I've been in the car with you so long, I feel like I'm in your body.
Like and subscribe.
So what do you give it?
I give it a 3.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, it's good. Like I say, you got to see it, because like even the AI thing shows the movie's just about the dichotomy of the characters, and one's the proper, and one's kind of the streetwise, and how they rub off on each other and complement each other.
Yeah, that's the odd couple for you.
Wait till you hear what they thought about Running Time and Sinners. Oh boy.
Well, okay, so that was Suitable Flesh and Green Book.
Movie that
fantastic.
Was a little bit about the Green Book, but it wasn't too much of the. I mean, I guess it was, but they don't mention it a lot. It's brought up a few times, but But
yeah,
what else are you going to call it? Right?
I guess we didn't even mention the fact that yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing when people go, when people talk about the race massacre in Tulsa. It's like, what do you mean that happened? Like you forget that, or some people aren't even aware that you needed a book to travel in the South back in the 50s and the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it apparently was created by a black mailman. I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, you could write off for it, and it would tell you places to stop that were safe if you were black while traveling in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, apparently could be a crime. What else?
Okay, so we're going to have a few more guest episodes coming up soon. But we will be back in a few weeks with another one of our no guest episodes.
Okay.
And so we'll go ahead and announce what those movies will be.
Okay.
Now, I've come up with a couple of movies that I want to bring on the show now that I've watched Green Book, because I'm like, oh, okay. let's dive into those. But we're not going to do that just yet. Those will happen later.
Why would we? Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
Go right into that because I want to be self-indulgent. You're watching Scream 7. But it'll be a while from now.
You can watch The Long Walk.
Ooh. Ooh.
So we'll do those two.
Yes, people seem to like that one, and a lot of people say you don't need to watch it more than once. So
I'm sure you'll have problems with it. I've
read
the
book.
Theater.
I've always been a fan of those Bachman books, so I was always curious to see what they do with those. Roadwork is still my favorite Stephen King book. So, and I don't know if they could turn that into an effective movie, though.
Well, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of his different seasons work, and that's where, of course, Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption, and I've always wondered to see the breathing method done on film, but I don't think anybody would be interested in seeing it.
I think it might have been a Twilight
Zone episode. It's too much of a slow burn. I think you're right. I think it might have been a Twilight episode.
Because I know At Pupil is a movie, and of course, Stand By Me, which is the body.
Right. Amazing that so many good films came out of that tiny book.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, so we'll do The Long Walk and Scream 7.
Yeah. People are like, where's Scream 4, 5, 6? Hey, I got my selfish reasons here. We'll get to those another way. And somebody out there might go, when he says selfish, he means research.
Okay. It's not much to research. We're done. So
well, I know, but there's some things that I wanted to talk about anyway. So
okay, we will do that.
Yeah, and it's light, and it's another one of these things where people are just harsh on it because of a controversy, and then you go and see it and you go, oh. But anyway, got a quote?
You want to get out of here on a quote?
No, wait, I was in your body. No, I was in yours. No, I don't mean it like that. I mean, my mind was in your body. Well, I guess then if anybody ever tells you to go fuck yourself, you can tell them that you have.
What are you talking about? Smoke's going into my lungs. I'm doing all the work. See ya.
Wait. Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, and keep listening to the show on the app of your choice. Do it now.